Hey everybody, how's it going? This is Daniel here. So in this video, I'm going to be showing you how I underwrite single family developments. You can do this for like 1 to 10 units. This is for a build to sell model. But yeah, I'll be running through this. Again, it's like a super simple model. That's the purpose, to do this initial sniff test, see if the deal is worth pursuing or not. But yeah, so really quick, just show you kind of quick overview of what this thing looks like. So what we'll quickly run through is over here, this is our typical inputs, kind of what we're buying for, what we're building for. This is a breakdown of kind of our actual returns. And again, this is for a build to sell model. And then over here, I just wanted to build kind of like a quick sensitivity analysis. It was honestly a little bit challenging to get in Google Sheets. Usually it's easier on Excel. But yeah, let's dive into it. So I wanted to just do kind of some random numbers to kind of throw into here. And again, if you want this model, just like drop a comment below. Or like DM me on Instagram. I'm still trying to get used to this, so just let me know. But yeah, let's dive into it. So really quick, you go and input kind of just overall project info. So property address, kind of what's your build plan, the market, the lot size, how many units, what's your square feet per unit, what is the total project duration, and then what is like the building timeline. So if it was a 3-unit project, we'd have 9,000 square feet, but as we know, this can be a 1-unit, 3,000 square foot property. Let's dive into it. So on the land side, and again, the blue is the input. So the purchase price is 100,000, 2% closing costs. It's probably going to fall closer to 1. And then probably in due diligence, whether that's going to do a perk test or getting a survey, whatever those costs kind of look like, just threw in $2,000 for that. So our total cost for the land, inclusive of everything, is about $103,000. And then we're going to dive into the construction side. So our price per square foot is about $140, getting you about $420K in total. But then I also allocated for a 5% contingency alongside an 8% builder fee. So in total, taking into consideration the contingency as well as a builder fee, that gets you to about $474,000. For the sake of this, I'm going to drop this to about 120, just that my returns kind of look like what I'm aiming for. But it'll probably come closer to like 127. But anyways, let's dive into it. So soft costs, again, I've got no idea. I just kind of threw in some numbers here. Again, that's the beauty. I can delete things. I can change them. That's the beauty of modeling, right? You're just throwing a bunch of assumptions in a spreadsheet, and then when you're actually doing your due diligence, you want to go and verify those figures to make sure everything checks out. And then as far as a capital stack, I'm assuming a loan to cost of about 80% here. Interest is about 8%, origination fee 1%, closing cost 1%. So in total, kind of what we have here is we're going to get a $429K loan. Given our cost basis and our carrying cost, we are expecting, $569K. So our weighted cost per square foot, inclusive of pretty much every single cost, not including the exit, gets us to 189, and we're going to sell for about 249 a foot. So looking pretty solid so far. And then now let's go and look at our exit. So we're assuming that the after build value, like I said, is about 249 a foot, getting us to about 747K. We're expecting a 5% agent commission, 2% closing cost. This means our net sale proceeds are about 694K. Our loan payoff is about 438. Again, we have kind of lowish leverage. We can assume 85%. So we're assuming that our net proceeds at the sale is 229K. And looking at our kind of return analysis here, our build cost of 547, our loan fees and carrying cost and closing cost about 23, getting us to about 570. Compare that to our 694 net sale proceeds. We are expecting about 124K profit, getting us a 21% like back of napkin ROI if you're curious on this computation. It's nothing too crazy here. And then we're also looking at our equity multiple because we kind of want to, on a levered basis, at least double our money. And yeah, that's a quick overview. Again, super easy. I mean, if we look at the inputs, it was maybe 10 inputs to go and model this thing out. That's what development is cool. If you're really good at sourcing deals and you actually know the math behind this, the beauty is the math is pretty easy. The biggest thing is get a good deal. I always recommend going direct to seller, use some overseas talent. Again, shameless plug here, no accent callers. If you need some callers who are doing this outreach, let me know. But As we see, super easy to go and underwrite this thing. The biggest thing is actually confirming this builder cost right here, because this could vary greatly, right? You got markets where it's 120 a foot and markets where it's 150 a foot. And if it was 150 a foot, as we see, it would not look pretty. That was 160, sorry, but let's say 120. Never mind, 125. But then this is the biggest thing. With any kind of project that you're taking on, the biggest thing that I always emphasize to people is analyze your downside risk. What is my doomsday returns, and am I okay with that? So as we see here, what we kind of modeled out is just looking at about 3 different land costs. So one at a 10% discount, one at our current cost, versus one at a 10% premium. And let's kind of look at the model over here. So this is kind of what we are expecting, this figure right here. But now what we're modeling in is, hey, what happens if we get a lower sales price? So if we go from 747 to 728, we're at a 2x multiple. If we go from 747 to 709, we're at a 1.92x multiple. So as you see here, we're kind of analyzing the downside. What is the lowest possible sales price that we are expecting? And what is the most expensive build cost that we are going to think that we will hit from an overage standpoint? So as we see here, I think that worst case scenario, it's a 710K sales price, and maybe we go a little bit over by like a couple percent at 1.92. So again, the biggest thing is analyze the downside risk, build out your sensitivities, and you will be able to mitigate all of your risk when doing these projects. And again, sorry for looking like shit on this call. I just took a long flight back from New York, but hope this is helpful. If you want the model, just drop a comment below.